Okay, Chud, yeah, I got you. Mr.
Because
Girl will replace you after this, okay? Just go ahead and finish
replace
this
me,
topic. And then we'll get to that
replace
part.
me.
Yeah.
What the bro? What are you talking about? Replace me,
I,
bro? I don't give a shit about your dusty ass panel. Get Mr. Girl in here. Who cares?
okay. All right, thank you. Or we'll replace you.
You replace me, okay? You Fanatiq. How about that? Get you. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Hold on, let me mute your stream actually.
Okay.
Second. All right, so I got one question really quick. Are,
Sure.
are you lying to people and telling them that I lied to you about who would be on my panel to get you on?
I think that characterization is not really fair. It's not that I'm saying that you're lying. I misread the message actually. I thought Mr. Girl was confirmed, but I just read it back on stream again, and I was like, no, Mr. Girl wasn't confirmed. So my perception going in was that Mr. Girl was going to be there, and I said as much before the panel. So that's my bad on that front. But in terms of Destiny, I think my understanding is that yeah, Destiny hadn't agreed to be on, and you were kind of promoting him as being on there to kind of promote your panel in some way, even though he hadn't said he was
Hey,
going to be on there.
to you, in that message, did I lie to you that Destiny would be on?
You didn't say Destiny was going to be on. You said Destiny was tentative, and my understanding is Destiny wasn't tentative. Destiny had no plans to come on the panel until the very last minute.
Okay, so in my conversations with Destiny, okay, so wait, before I get into explanation, just to be clear, to you, I absolutely told you Destiny was tentative, and I told you Mr. Girl was tentative. So I told you there were three
Correct.
confirmed guests. So
Correct.
from your perspective, there was literally nothing besides the actual truth of the three confirmed guests and the two tentative guests, correct?
Well, Mr. Girl being tentative, sure, I'll accept that, but I don't think that Destiny was tentative. My understanding is Destiny wasn't planning to come on at all, and only agreed to come on at the last minute. And I've seen a clip from Destiny that where he sort of says, "Okay, looks like I am going to go on this panel in the end. I've been bullied into it."
Okay. So now, when it came to Destiny, I did have a very strong belief system. I mean, not system. I had a strong belief that I was going to be able to get Destiny to come onto the conversation. Originally, when I approached him, he was like, "Nope, I'm going to be playing League." Then I asked him, "Hey," and I said, "Hey, well, you can play League while you do it." And then I told him something that was particularly spicy, which I don't care to reveal right now. And then his response went from, "No, I'm not going to do it," to, "Okay, well, what time is it?" And I was like, exactly. And so then at that point, I told him what time it was. And then it was like, okay, no, still no. And then later on, I reached out to Destiny and I asked him, okay, look, you can be on League, such and such. Can you still do that? Destiny said, I can't do it because I have this lost, he had a sponsorship. And I was like, that's perfect. My sponsorship starts at 5. I mean, my panel starts after your sponsorship ends. And at that point, I was very confident that Destiny was going to come on, as he eventually did. He never did actually say to me point blank, yes, I'm going to be on the panel. I just felt like from the way we were communicating, it was whatever. There was a thing that I did that was kind of baiting him, where I'm like messaging him, like it's like assuming the sell, where you say, okay, so what topics did you want to talk about in this panel? And when he hasn't like directly said to me, I'm gonna be on the panel. And I did that. Like it was just like I assumed the sell, just like, okay, so are you cool with these topics? Which is basically like already like taking it for granted that he's going to be there. Which he started laughing on his stream and was like, wait, why is he assuming I'm going to be there? Da, 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 da. I knew that like what I was doing was definitely like hyper aggressive and hyper presumptuous. But I think I have a pretty good rapport with Destiny, and I expected him to do that. I did expect him to be there. I felt very confident that he actually was going to go. I know that he's been on this league bender. I felt like this would be good content for his viewers. I know it would obviously be good for me. He normally brings in a crap ton of viewers. So there was obviously me doing it for myself. It was incredibly self-serving. That was my real goal. I thought about it, and it's like, yeah, no, it had nothing to do with his viewers or doing something for him or any of that stuff. I'm not going to sit here and try to be like, oh, I'm doing something for everyone else. Freak out of here. Nah, it was for me.
Okay.
That's what I did
But
it
he
for,
wasn't
and
tentative,
Destiny
was he?
agreed.
He was saying no, and you said he was tentative, and you even tweeted out before he'd agreed to it. And,
He
that
was
was an
tentative.
effort to promote your show, and that's fine. I don't mind that. But
He
I
was
don't think.
tentative.
Okay, but no, that's not what tentative means, is it?
Well, let's see.
What does tentative mean to you then?
I'll explain why I
It
say
means
it's
maybe to
tentative.
me.
Right, and I'll explain why I think it was an obvious maybe to me that
Okay.
eventually turned out to a yes. Because when I originally talked to you and you say no, and then I say here's this thing that I think will probably entice you a little bit, and then you go, okay, wait, when is it? It's like, okay, I see that I feel like the bait is there and you're interested in the bait, right? Then later on, you tell me, I got to league it up. And I'm like, oh, it's okay. You can play league while you do it. It'll be amazing, right? And then, like, my next thing was me, and I'm not going to try to read I'm not trying to leak DMs, but what I did say was like, hey, when do you have anything specifically? Da, 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 like, what do you want to really talk about? And he was like, wait, when does it start? I have a sponsor. Da, 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 da. And I was like, well, it starts after your sponsor. And I said, perfect timing. And then he said, and then he just didn't respond. But I felt like already, like again, given all of the whatever, like his shift from like absolutely not to maybe or okay, fine. When does it start? To me, it seems like okay, yes, I'm starting to assume the sell. I'm not the best of salesmen, but I mean, I
Okay.
did
So
sell really well, like when I was
yeah.
doing for PDP my sponsorship. So at this point, I think it's for me, it seemed obvious to me, like, he seems like he's going to take it. And I have DMs with my friends where I was like, hey, he was saying no, but I did this thing, and now it seems like he's going to come. So I feel like for me, it seemed obvious that it was very tentative. I feel very comfortable in that. And obviously, we can now see that he did come. So I think I was actually right there. And
Sure,
he
but
never said no after the very first time. Once I gave him the bait, he never ever said no.
right, okay. So I think like I don't have a problem with you doing this. You know, you basically did a bit of like I don't know what you want to call it. Like I call it like a Giga Chad move of like baiting him on, and that's fine. And I don't think in my coverage today I've said that you were like lying or dishonest or something like that. Um, my only comment is that it seemed like, despite the fact that Destiny wasn't even seemingly tentative by the time you'd messaged me and were tweeting out about it, you know, you were using it in such a way as about, oh, Destiny is going to be on the panel, as sort of a way of attracting viewers, guests, etc. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But
I
I'm
never
not
told you Destiny was going to be on the channel. I just said tentative to you.
sure. But hang on a sec. Your tweet said Destiny was going to be there,
Sure,
right?
that's true.
So I looked at that tweet because you'd said tentative to me, but obviously with the context of the tweet saying Destiny was going to be there, like obviously I still thought it was probably tentative, but clearly in your tweet when you're typing that out and you're sending it, you know, you're doing that because you like want people to know Destiny's going to be there so they watch, right?
I think so. Look, if you want to pin me to like the tweet that I sent out that Destiny was confirmed to be on it was inaccurate, gladly give that to you. Destiny did not. That was also part of what I was doing in order to encourage him to do so. Now you can say that was coercion. You can say that that was bullying. I don't even think I would fight you on that. That I mean, yes, I probably bullied him into it, and I apologized to him actually privately afterwards. Like, you know what? Hey, that was kind of bullying you into something. Originally, I said it like when he first agreed to be on it, when he finally was on it. When he changed his title, it was like, hey, going to be in Fanatiqs panel later on. I told him I was like, thank you for letting me bully you into this. And then afterwards, I realized I was like, you know what, man? I justified it in my brain as like, oh, I'm doing something for him. You know, he needs a break from league, and oh, they need content in August, and da da da. Da. But I'm like, no, I know me, and I'm gonna be honest with myself. I was just being self-serving there. But yes, my tweet to the masses, in no uncertain terms, is yes, that was absolutely misleading in the way that I sent that message. Because I didn't know for sure Destiny was going to be on there. I did believe that I was going to be able to get him on there, but I didn't know for sure. So yeah, I guess I said it before I had direct confirmation. I don't know. I don't know
Because
what else
this,
there
you
is to
know,
say there.
like this is what added to the confusion too. Is you're telling me Destiny and MrGirl are tentative, then you're saying here Destiny is confirmed, and there's two other tentative spots. So I mean, obviously, I appreciate there's like a changing
You weren't
situation.
aware of the tweet, bro. You hadn't seen the tweet. You
Well,
didn't
well,
know that. I spoke to you
no, I brought it up
directly,
on
and I
stream. I made the
right. I'm
decision to come
saying.
on because I was speaking to Supreme at the time privately, and
Mhm.
I think I said something like, because at the time I don't know, I think I don't know exactly how I read it, but at the very least I said, yeah, Destiny might be there,
Mhm.
and Supreme was like, oh okay, yeah, you've got to go on that. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go on it then, you know, because the thing is like, I even said before I started my stream, like the main reason I wanted to go on is because I thought I'd misread it. I thought Mr. Girl was going to be there and Destiny might be there, and that's the main reason I wanted to go on. Um,
Yep,
you know,
I
which is
get it, and
understandable, right?
I can't take responsibility for you not reading properly. I intentionally like. There's one thing I
Yeah, I've
say
already
to
copped to
tweet
that.
like
I've said I misread about the Mr.
I
Girl thing.
I
That's my
got
bad.
you. So then, oh great, I got you. So then at this point, again, it seems like you were not aware of the tweet at the time, right? And I've already soundly said that my tweet was absolutely misleading to the masses. That has nothing to do with what happened to you. Because as you were a person that I would be personally interacting with, I felt like it would be most reasonable for me to make sure that I started off on honest and respectful terms. So I told you exactly what the goal was, exactly what was happening. That's I did that with you specifically because if you're going to be an actual guest on the show, as opposed to just some random Twitter mass, like or, one of the
Yeah.
random number on Twitter, I felt like I should give you the decency of actually knowing what's going. So you actually agree to what's happening, and like you agree with full knowledge and full transparency. So I didn't lie to you in any capacity. Just to make sure that that's crystally clear stated,
Sure.
I
I
did
don't think
not
I've
lie
called
to
you a
you in
liar.
any
I mean,
capacity.
chat can confirm or we need to deny. There's some people that disagree with me. I don't think I called you a
Okay.
liar. I don't think you're a liar. Like, I don't think that of you. Okay.
Okay. Okay,
Um,
good. So as long as you, well, I mean, I did lie in the tweet. Like, or I wouldn't call it a lie, but I feel like I wasn't fully transparent. There, by the way, if you notice, that tweet is literally at the character limit. Originally, I was going to say Mr. Girl is possible, like potentially Mr. Girl. I couldn't even put him in there. That tweet is exactly like I had 0 characters left, and I had to like edit out. I was going to say the Fanatic show panel. I had to change it. I got rid of show. I got rid of like whatever. I didn't have enough space to like fully say the rest of the things. So that there was just that. I did what I had to do. But yeah, I mean, you can pin me on that. Like that's it. But
sure. Yeah.
people that people have like messaged me saying that I lied to I lied to you or whatever. And it at the beginning of this call, it seemed like you were indicating in some kind of way that I might have, or that you assumed I had, until you reread the tweet and recognized that I didn't. But I'm glad, as long as that's
Yeah.
crystal clear. I
If
never
anyone's
lied to you,
messaged
and I don't
you,
lie to my guests. That's fine.
that's not. Obviously we've got some other disagreements which we talked about last night, and I've just talked about it a bit on stream today. But I don't. I never thought you were like a liar or you lied to me to get me on. Um, yeah. No, I didn't really think that. So. It's just I
Okay.
think that you were using Destiny as a promotional tool, even though you hadn't fully agreed to come on, which I think is correct.
Sure. He hadn't fully agreed. You're right. I felt very confident that he would be.
Sure.
And again, I did some assuming of the cell, which I don't know. You can shoot me for it, but I mean, it's what happened.
But yeah, I mean, listen, you've talked some stuff, I've talked some stuff. I've got no like ill will towards you. I appreciate you probably don't want me on your show again, and that's fine. I don't think it's for me, so it's all good.
Sure. And just to address something really quickly.
Yeah, sure.
Um, when you pointed out that like I didn't have decorum when I went on your show, right?
Correct. Yep.
And now, do you think in an environment in which people it wasn't yeah, do you think in an environment in which people are being particularly onerous or like cantankerous and like high energy and it's like about the blood sports for me to respond in that way, do you think that's a lack of decorum? Like if that's the environment and the thing that you're going for?
I mean, the way I see it is you just want to have your cake and eat it too. You want to go and be obnoxious elsewhere, but then on your stream, you want to turn it into the discourse haven or whatever. And
Okay,
yeah, I
please
just think
answer
that's
the
kind of
question.
cringe.
Do you think that me acting that way, like on some stream where that is the environment and that's the intention of the host, would be a lack of decorum?
Well, no, of course not. But then what I'd say to you is me being called unethical or my actions unethical and immoral more so than Dr. K is also a lack of decorum. But you didn't call that out because you seem more
Be-
interested in civility politics, but you called me out for getting frustrated back when my character was called into question by Doobie.
Sure, I didn't call you out on frustration. I called you out on your lack of civility. And just to be clear, so to address the statement that because it was a two-parter, right? So yes, on your stream where like blood sports are the intention, then I think it's perfectly reasonable for me to not have as much decorum, to not be civil if that's not the environment. And I think I can do that while simultaneously maintaining that in the space in which we've clearly stated this is not about drama, this is not about blood sports, this is not about entertainment, this is about a conversation. I think that it's not hypocritical for me to say,
Yeah.
here is
You
how
use
I
other
will act
people's
here,
bigger
and
platforms for your
there.
drama farming. I get it, yeah.
Okay, if you call that drama farming, even though none of my panels had had drama until you came on it, I think then you can
No, no,
say
no, but
that.
that's the point. But
But
you are
again,
using
but
other
regardless,
spaces for drama
you're
farming. It's fine, I get it.
you're shifting the conversation. Do you think
Not
it's
at all.
hypocritical? Is it not hypocritical for me to be able to make this statement that in a space in which people are going to be cantankerous, for me to be cantankerous while still saying in a space in which I clearly express that the goal is not to be dramatic in any capacity, that I require other people to follow that
Well, it's
mentality.
not about hypocrisy as such. It's just about you wanting to have your cake and eat it too. So you want to go and drama farm on bigger platforms, and then when it comes back to your show, you want to be like, no, I want it to be courteous and civil and stuff like that. Just think it's kind of cringe. That's all. You can do what you want. It's up to you at the end of the day.
Okay, so first off, I don't think I'm drama farming. I think what I think it's realistic to be able to say I'm going to be a responsive person to the environment around me, and I think if I'm going into a channel in which somebody else is being a douchebag, I'm going to be a douchebag. And guess what? Sometimes I can be a douchebag on my own channel, right? Like I can easily go in the mud, sling mud, and do all the other
Okay.
stuff
But if
on
someone's
my
a
channel as
douchebag on
well.
your channel to someone else, and then they respond in kind, you're not going to call the original person out. You're going to call me out for getting annoyed with Doobie, even though Doobie was trying to provoke me. And Destiny was memeing a bit, but he was, he said before he came on the
Yeah.
stream, we're going to break Chud in this panel,
Very similar to therapy. It's
Okay, my goal is to break Chud by the end of this. We'll break him.
difficult to
which
say.
was good natured, but he clearly was like getting in on the memes too, right?
Yeah, well, it depends. Like, if it depends on what the environment is. I've had plenty of panels or like plenty of conversations on my stream where we're going ham, where we're doing the same thing that like the way that the typical Twitch atmosphere. But if I'm saying this space is particularly resolved for aggressive civility, if you will, where I am intentionally making it as civil as possible or as calm as possible, right? If that's the goal on this specific space, then that's what I'm going to hold people to. But if I'm in another space where that's not the goal, then I think it's perfectly reasonable to say, go ahead, go at them however the freak you want to, obviously within terms without violating TOS. I don't understand how that's so difficult. If this is it's like people, it's crazy to me that people would expect me to be yelling and screaming like I do in like Prime's panels at church, right? No, if I go to church, I'm going to have the decorum of what's necessary for church. When in
Do you think your
Rome,
panel's
right?
like a church then? Is that what you're saying?
No, if that's really how you understood it, I really can't be bothered by your like lack of comprehension here. My point being,
Okay.
when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So in this case, this is a space where we're clearly defining. Destiny can be particularly like cantankerous, and we know this about him. And it's typically what gets him a lot of viewers, and people love that. But in my space, like I've always like told him, like, hey, this is what the goal is, and he's done so. So I think the idea that you don't have a right to feel whatever, that's not true. Obviously, you can respond, but I would expect you to respond with decency. If a judge says something that ticks you off, you don't go scream and yell at the judge. You try your best with the same
But that's
respect
very
to tell
telling.
him
You
this is
think
what
you're
I
a
feel.
fucking judge. I don't give a shit about your authority. Like, whatever.
That's such a piss poor interpretation of what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I don't think I'm a judge. I don't think my space is a church. What I'm establishing is a principle that in a given environment in which there is a specific definition of decorum that is intended, for you to violate that shows a lack of respect for that environment, whatever the
Yeah, I
space
don't
is.
respect
I'm
your
not
environment.
saying I'm your
It's
judge.
boring. It's
You
boring. You're
didn't.
boring.
I That's perfect. And now that once you establish that, I think, do you not think that it's completely reasonable when you've displayed that you don't respect my environment for me to kick you from it?
Well, I mean, considering I came on short notice at like 1 a.m. my time, like, and all I was doing, like, we'd agreed the Ayurveda stuff was bullshit, and I totally calmed down. And I was just saying, like, let's bring MrGirl in, and you seemed to suggest that you weren't going to bring him on. You were like, it's weird to bring someone on halfway through a conversation. And MrGirl was saying, come on my show. I didn't want to just dump
That's a
your show to
different
go on
part.
MrGirl's. And then you said to me, I'm going to replace you. I was like, well, fuck you.
Okay. Do you think if you've completely demonstrated and verbalized that you don't have respect for my panel, that I have every right to kick you?
Well, I had some semblance of respect to stay on, and but when you said you were going to replace me, yeah, that's when I thought it was really out of line, and I thought, well, fuck you.
Okay, that's fine. When you show me that you don't respect my space, do I have a right to kick you?
Of course you do, yeah, sure. I'm
Okay.
not saying you had to
So,
keep me on. I'm not saying you had to keep. Obviously, if I did something really
okay.
egregious, of course you got a right to kick me. But I don't think what I did was that egregious to kick me. I just think you got your nose out of joint because you felt your fucking power on your dusty ass panel was being challenged, and that's what it was. It's fine, but you're trying to act like I was
So, the,
acting super egregiously, and I don't think I was acting that badly, as you made out.
okay. Then tell me this. Why are you the only person I've ever had to kick?
Um, I don't know. I haven't seen all of your panels. maybe I'm the only person that's really challenged you in a meaningful way on this.
I don't think it was meaningful. You clearly showed me that you didn't respect my panel. You didn't respect the space. You didn't respect the decorum that we were asking you to have. Right?
Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, sure. I wasn't really that concerned with the decorum, but then my problem is
Absolutely. And
other
that's the
people.
most
But the
important
thing is,
thing.
people were acting without decorum, but doing it in a polite way, and that was allowed. Doobie's allowed to fucking basically say I'm acting in an ethical way, and that's allowed because he's doing it in a polite way. It's civility
Sure.
politics. It's tone policing. You're basically just tone policing me.
Okay, if you feel like that's the only thing that's being had there, then I mean, I guess that's your perspective. But I think beyond just tone policing, I do want the conversation to be preeminent. I want to make sure that the topic at hand is what's discussed and that we don't deviate too far from it. And that's what I was asking for. Now I understand, obviously. Like I have so many DMs of me going on other people's spaces and literally vocalizing to them, like, okay, listen, I'll spice it up. Which side do you want me to take so that I can, be entertaining? Like my goal when I'm a guest on someone else's space is to contribute to their space in a way that is entertaining to help them get more attention. That has been my efforts, and I've done that. I have obvious, like, they've asked me specifically to do that, and when I run out of energy, when I don't have any more, like, whatever, it's like, yo, I'm too weak. I need to eat. I'm just don't have enough like energy to continue like yelling and screaming and all of that stuff. So I got to get off, right? But my goal is to contribute to a space. But if someone was to tell me specifically, like, hey, this person is this way, so I need you not to be that way, which I have DMs of people doing that, then I'll tell them, okay, got you. I'll just handle this in a way that, that respects your space. So I think when someone shows me that they don't respect my space, then at that point it's like, yeah, why would I continue? Why would I keep you around? It's not about just tone policing. I really want the conversation to happen, and we've been able to do so. But some people, like in this case, I think you, and this is not me trying to be passive aggressive, I think you just weren't you maybe you were too emotional. I don't know what the reason was, but you obviously showed me you couldn't respect it. You were unwilling to respect it. So then it was like, why would I continue to have you in this space? Prior to the Mr. Girl thing, I had already like said, man, I actually am. I typed it in my chat. I'm actually considering kicking this person because you were clearly pulling away from the conversation such that we couldn't really continue in a meaningful way. Doobie definitely didn't say you overall are unethical. He
Okay,
said he thinks that things that
let
you
me
were
ask you a
doing, that
question.
statement you were making was unethical, and you took that incredibly personal, which
Right.
you have a right to do,
Let
but
me
you can
ask you a
still
question.
respond in with
Do
decorum.
you think if you're having a panel about Dr. K, it is at least somewhat respectful to do like some semblance of research on what's going on before you come on?
I think on some things, and I think Doobie watched. I did encourage everyone to watch Mr. Reckful's, Mr. Girl's video, and to watch Dr. K's response. And some people did that, some people didn't. Doobie was actually one of the people who did do both of those things, and that's what the conversation was intended to be centered around.
Sure. I mean, I appreciate not everyone's going to watch my content, and that's fine. I'm not saying, you have to watch all of my shit about it or whatever. But it was just what I found frustrating was that I was being challenged on things which I had seen and others hadn't. And like I was getting annoyed by that. But then
Sure.
I think, well, that's disrespectful on the other side because these people haven't even watched some of the content we're now talking about. And rather than say, I've not watched it, I can't really comment, they had very strong opinions on it. You even pulled a comment from some fucking idiot in your chat. Like, what the fuck do they know about anything? They're just a chatter. Fuck that person. Like, they probably haven't even
Okay.
watched it themselves.
So listen, the comment that we said in chat was only addressing the direct quote that came from you because you are correct. We were not familiar with the content. We were not familiar with the actual clip, which is why I directly asked you, as someone who was unaware of the actual clip, hey, is there any additional context that would help us to see things from your perspective from that clip? You responded with hostility to me asking you that question, which was in all good faith. I didn't have an overall take on whether or not Dr. K was like promoting that thing or whether or not like it was like whatever. The only thing I had a take on was the very sentence that you stated, which the sentence you stated, I do not believe that it follows logically and necessarily that he was saying that that thing was better. But once we have the surrounding context, then I came to that conclusion, as everyone else did. We were just hoping that you would actually give us the thing. You were claiming to be frustrated because we didn't know any better. And even when I told you,
Wait, no,
admittingly, I
Destiny
don't
understood.
know,
Destiny got it immediately.
yeah, Destiny got it because I think Destiny's also aware of more of that content. And so I think that also that context helped to inform him. But all of us who were missing that specific context, I asked you for the room and for myself, what
I
was
gave
the
you the
context
video.
that we were
We
missing?
watched the video and
You
then I was
did.
fine with it.
You gave me the video later, but your original response to me asking you for context was to tell me what more effing context do you need.
Yes, I was
That's what happened.
frustrated because I felt like Destiny had gotten it, and I didn't. I'll admit I didn't elaborate this very well. It was a poor point on my part.
Absolutely.
Sure,
And I
but
think your frustration, I think was again and again, I think that I don't know if it's a maturity thing. I don't know if it's just like your overall frustration with like already having like dealt with this with your stream or whatever the issue was. But clearly, it wasn't conducive of an actual conversation because, like, in all decency, I was trying to ask you to elucidate your point to see if maybe what you were saying was true, and you wouldn't even do that. So how are you putting that on the rest of us?
because okay, I had spent the entirety of that panel arguing with people who didn't know what I knew about it, and it was frustrating. And yeah, I was a bit annoyed, right? But when you have your character called into question and it's suggested that you're acting in an immoral or unethical way, yeah, that's going to piss you off. So no surprise that I was a bit fucking mad about some of the things that were being said.
Okay, well, like I heard from other people, and it seemed like from the very beginning of this conversation that at one point you thought I was a liar. Do you think that I should that means now that gives me license to just come in here and scream my head off and just completely ignore the energy in the room and my addressing
But
of my
wait,
concern there?
okay, if I said to you, you're a liar, or you've acted in a way that would a liar would, I think you'd be within your right to be annoyed about that if you haven't lied. So
Sure,
when someone calls
sure.
me
Can
unethical
you
and
be
I've not
annoyed and
acted
not
in,
scream?
I don't think I screamed. I was agitated and angry,
Okay,
and I called him a fucking idiot. But I don't think I screamed.
okay.
You're mischaracterizing how I was.
Sure, I didn't say that you were. I'm just pointing out like that there
All
is
right,
even
why
though
bring it
you're
up then?
annoyed that because what I was pointing out it was hopefully if you would have let me finish, I was going to demonstrate that just because you're annoyed doesn't justify all of the actions that you took. And I think obviously there were several appeals to decency made to you that despite the fact that you were annoyed, you could have addressed it by not doing it in the way that you did, but you chose to do it in a very aggressive way, which was
Okay.
unnecessary.
But the thing is, you'll note that there were times when I did calm down when I was able to talk. But, you kept throwing it over to other people. Like, all due respect to Jeff, Jeff should have a chance to speak. But I feel like there were times when it's like was appropriate for me to say something. And even I tried to interject, you're like, no, and threw it to another person. So, I felt like you kind of let me get attacked by Doobie at the start. And, any response to that when I wasn't just completely calm was unacceptable. And then there were moments where like you even cut me off to give it to someone else. And yeah, I don't know. It was frustrating. It was a frustrating panel
I
to be
don't
on. And I think you did a bad job as a host. That's it. Okay.
Oh, that's perfectly fine, and you're entitled to your opinion. I don't
Yeah.
remember ever cutting you off to give the space to someone else. And I do
We'll go
think,
back
yeah,
and watch
like
it. I just
sometimes,
did.
sure. I mean, I've rewatched portions of it. I don't remember cutting you off. I don't believe that that actually happened. I didn't cut
Okay.
you off to let someone else respond, except for I think there was yeah, here's the deal. If you think I did a poor job, that's perfectly fine.
Hmm.
Like, I'm obviously going to try my best to improve. I'm sorry that it came off that way to you. What I'm going to be doing is trying to make sure that I invite more people who are more conducive to the space. Obviously, this is just not probably not the space for you, and that's fine. And hopefully, there's at least no bad blood from us. And I wasn't trying to silence you. I very much was perfectly fine with you addressing whatever concern you
Welcome
felt.
to
I
Chud
was just
Nation.
hoping that you would do
An
so with
anonymous
the
user
decorum
gifted a
of
tier
the
1
rest of the
sub to
room.
Mr.
But I mean, if
Fanatiq.
that's the case, but since you couldn't, I feel like that's why I did what I did. I
Okay.
don't really feel like I owe you an apology for removing you from the space,
I don't want an
considering you
apology. I don't care
you
about apologies.
okay. Good. Then so at this point, I don't even know. Is there really
No,
anything else that needs
no,
to be
that's it.
discussed?
I think that's
All
it.
right, man.
All right.
Okay. You have
Have
a good
have a
day.
good one. Catch you later. Bye bye.